We literally just started and we already have to bring in the special effects. Again. Oh hey kids, I hope this story isn't boring you too much because we got eye candy. Look at all the pretty colors. Subconscious stands in limbo cliché. Where am I cliché? What was that? Why, another unneeded special effects sprite, of course. Also, you fought a metallic supersonic, a rampaging water god, and endured traveling through the treasure hunting stages of SA2, but this freaks you out? Wimp. I get the feeling something's following me, cliché. So, what was your first clue? Was it the unneeded special effect flying around? Because if so, Steve Urkel already figured that out. Also, this is where sprite work fails when conveying depth of field. Since they're two-dimensional and this limbo is all black space with no background, you can't distinguish a foreground and background, so everything appears on the same plane. So instead of the unneeded special effect looking like it's in the background, it looks as if it shrunk since we last saw it. Suddenly this guy. Also, is it just me, or do all these character reveals have the subtlety of Santa riding a man-eating bison? Oh my god, it's a guy who looks just like me but is wearing a mask! How the fuck would you know? You've been unconscious since the start of this episode. I'm back to spread more chaos cliché. Also, this guy has absorbed the chaos energy from 3 of the main characters, the Deus Ex Machina Stones, and the Master Deus Ex Machina Stone. Good job, writer. This guy is now an unstoppable god. You better have a good reason why he loses. Knuckles' transformation here is so sporadic it causes a Sonic Battle sprite to change into a 16-bit Genesis sprite. Lengthy transformation sequence. Hey, Enerjack, you're supposed to be a god of chaos, right? Why are you bothering with these mortals with nothing special about them? Seriously, most gods turned evil usually betray the mortals they're manipulating. Hey, Ares from God of War just called. He says you're doing it wrong. Hey, you know how a good story gives us slight info about the characters they just reveal? Well, this story ain't got time for that. Back to plot B. Honestly, they should have found you sooner. You're in a building with a window wide open. These robots are terrible at finding people. Also, despite Sonic knowing they'll be discovered, he continues to stay in the most obvious hiding spot with his 2 other idiot friends. And here I thought Naruto was bad at stealth. Sonic, now might not be the best time to doze off into a flashback. You're kinda being pursued by enemies right now. Everything was going good until the Fire Nation attacked cliché. Also, what are you even talking about? You 3 never even encountered Eggman Nega. Well, Amy did, but you and Tails never did, so what are you talking about? Also, you shouldn't even be angry right now. It's your own fault you're in this situation. You're the one who had your back turned towards the guy who you clearly knew could steal your powers. Your powers being stolen isn't the fault of the bad guy, it's the fault of your stupidity. We're supposed to sympathize with this character right now, but his actions and attitude towards handling his new situation makes me think he's an idiot. Try harder next time, writer. Actually, there was plenty you could have done, such as f***ing moved. Also, that's a good point. Why did Infinitifus kill you? He had your power stolen, you were all in a state of vulnerability, and he just leaves? A smart villain would have captivated that moment and used your chaos powers to kill you, so why didn't he? You're standing right in the middle of the f***ing window! How do these robots not see you? This scene does not contain a lap dance. Suddenly this guy. This music is too dramatic for this scene. Oh look, a scene where the characters discuss about possibly being spotted, and the very next scene they're spotted. The subtlety in this writing is as active as my virginity. Also, even with a robot having infrared sensors and scanning capabilities, it takes them this long to find people. Lamest robots ever. Also, this robot proceeds to go nameless for quite a while. So for the sake of convenience, I shall dub him Super Overpowered Robot. Here we see the writer trying to pretend that 5 minutes of filler from last part had importance. Wait, so you killed him just to use his energy? Weren't you 2 made by the same scientist? Shouldn't you be doing some tag team action if that's the case? Why kill each other? Well, that was rude. Good job, Super Overpowered Robot. I think you broke every bone in their body. Possibly ruptured all their organs, too. So, he's a Time Lord, too. Also, Sonic and Amy's bodies spin to the impact of Super Overpowered Robot's attacks, but Tails remains unmobile. Also, look at Sonic and Amy. Now look at them when time froze. Shouldn't their bodies remain in the position they were in when time first freezes? Also, their bodies are spinning while time is frozen. You do know how time freezing works, right, Animator? I mean, right? They survive this. Despite being caught in the heart of the explosion, all 3 characters come out with no ashes or burn marks. Also, despite Tails being in the same explosion as Sonic and Amy, his body doesn't spin from the impact. It's also worth mentioning that the one character in Sonic's group of friends who is very heavy on the science is the one defying physics here. It's like if Tim Curry wasn't over the top in a villain role. That's right, Amy. Hit the Super Overpowered Robot with your hammer. That'll do something. Oh look, hitting the Super Overpowered Robot with your puny hammer didn't do anything. I'd say it was nice knowing you, Amy, but I don't sympathize with stupidity. Allies come in at the nick of time cliché. Also, how did these guys know to come to this exact location at the exact moment their buddies were going to be slaughtered by Super Overpowered Robot? Haha, random text is funny. Also, a second Matrix? But no one liked the second movie. I need this special effects prompt just to punch you. Also, opponent charges full force, and super overpowered robot's first instinct is to look away from his opponent. Even the robots are incompetent. Super overpowered robot is incompetent. Also, is it too much to ask for some spacing so the audience can tell what's going on in this fight scene? You can barely see when super overpowered robot shoots Shadow with the laser to make it relevant to the plot. Also, Shadow, the ultimate life form, was sent flying by a simple laser. Lamest ultimate life form ever. Amy's hammer, which was doing jack shit to overpowered robot, now suddenly does something. This motherfucker has a lightsaber. I was just joking about my George Lucas comment from earlier, but damn, I wasn't kidding. Also, Shadow's hand should be cut off. I mean, that's how lightsabers work, don't they? Yeah, Shadow, the whole time-stopping powers became stale when everyone in this series is a freaking Time Lord. Also, where did Rouge get that laser cannon from? Also, super overpowered robot is a Time Lord too, right? Can't he just counter the time-stopping powers with his own time-stopping powers so he can move during a time freeze? Also, if Shadow stopped time, why do Rouge and Omega still move? There are absolutely no rules established to how time powers work in this series. The animator just does whatever he wants and thinks no one is going to point out how ridiculous it is that everyone has time powers, but he never stays consistent with how it works. The energy balls Shadow emitted earlier during the time freeze shoot a horizontal beam instead of expanding, because the animator thinks logic is stupid. Wait, so when super overpowered robot lands from an impact like that, he leaves a skid mark instead of breaking up the ground? I've sustained damage, so I better power up cliché. Also, why does every super overpowered character do this? If you have more power to use against your opponent, then use it. Don't toy with them thinking you won't need it. Still no explanation about those healing powers, huh? That's a shame. Shadow being fatigued here makes no sense. He can stop time, emit several balls of energy, and fire lasers all at once, but healing one guy makes him fatigued? Oh, that's why he's fatigued. The animator needed some bullshit drama. Still doesn't explain anything, sadly. By the way, remember when Dr. Eggman said he'll get revenge on Eggman Nega last part? Wouldn't the ultimate revenge be deactivating all the robots he deployed? You'd figure a man of science would add failsafes to all his creations in case they went wrong. This problem could all be solved if anyone in the series used their brain. Also, of all the people you're sending to convince Eggman to change, you're sending someone who he hates. Shadow seems like the guy who'd tell a Democrat to convince a Republican that all political parties are equal. Also, despite Shadow being fatigued, there is no animation done to signify he's out of breath. So Shadow stops time to teleport Tails away, but he never thinks to use that to move away from the oncoming fireball? The fuck? Also, if you guessed the formula by now, Shadow survived that explosion. The cutaway suspense failed at its job yet again. Well, you see, Sonic, you failed to destroy all the robot capsules from the past, and now you're in the bad future. Oh, wait, that'd actually be a clever use of the source material, and you know the writer. No knowledge on anything whatsoever. Question, Sonic. How do you plan to get back to the city when you have no clue where you are? You got a map quest somewhere in your non-existing pockets? Oh, what luck! Robots all the way out here! Also, robots are a dick to Sonic. Oh no, Sonic's been converted to the Blot. But seriously, why is he emanating black ooze? He was hit with a fireball attack. Fire is not liquid. Wait, isn't that a world ring? You mean to tell me the first random group of robots Sonic runs across and they happen to drop a mystical artifact filled with power? The writer is cheating! Also, aren't the world rings exclusive to the lands of the Arabian Nights? How'd they make their way outside the storybook world? Fuck you, writer! You can't just throw in random plot devices just to give a fallen protagonist a boost. That's like getting your foot run over by a 16-wheel pickup truck and magically stumbling upon instant healing moss. This will not go unpunished. You know what's worse? This could have been a good scene. They could have had Sonic fighting hordes of robots with his CQC skills and rolling attacks to show he doesn't need fancy powers to be strong. But no, they decided to throw in a stupid plot device because the animator can't animate creative choreography outside the Michael Bay mentality of let's blow shit up. It wouldn't save the episode, but it at least show the writers and animators are more than one-trick ponies. But no, the animator and writer are goddamn one-trick ponies. He's got a lightsaber too? So they're both Jedi and Time Lords? That's pretty sinful. Oh, and it seems he's using Darth Maul's lightsaber. Reminding me of terrible Star Wars prequels is not going to get you any praise, I'm afraid. Hey, that joke wasn't funny the first time. Let's do it again and maybe someone will chuckle. Don't worry, we'll get you. Also, did Sonic just combo break a super attack using a super attack? What killer instinct allowed you to do that? Also, despite Sonic's wind-up for his super attack, he hits the robot anyway, even though the robot's attack was mere inches away from touching Sonic. This netcode is laggy as shit. Also, the tone direction to this series is very confusing. It's trying to take itself seriously, yet you have all these visual gags that are trying to get you to laugh, but also at the same time should be taken seriously. I'm pretty sure visual gags don't work like that, especially when the audience are all feeling intense from the giant death lasers flying, and I have to be the one guy in the back raising his hand going, kitchen sink cannon! A place you still shouldn't know how to get to, considering you don't even know where you are currently. It appears the scientist, with an IQ of 300, never installed spell check on his super overpowered robots. God damn it. Why did you already kill this guy? I'm asking myself that too. Shadow is fatigued from all the energy he was using, but somehow manages to have enough power to transform. See, I can't root for anyone here. I can't root for the bad guys because they're all stupid and incompetent, and I can't root for the good guys because they're all stupid and cheap. So we cut away from Shadow getting a new form just to see Sonic return to the city. Also, how did Sonic get back here so fast? I mean, fastest thing alive and everything, but Sonic landed in a place he had no idea where he was and managed to return to the city in no less than a screen transition. That non-existing map quest works wonders. That's quite the assumption you're making there, Sonic. You've only seen 2 other people getting wrecked, and then you were sent into a completely different setting. Your buddies could have been playing 52 pickup during your leave, and you wouldn't have noticed. Yes, but I don't understand why you'd have any form of feelings towards him. I mean, you two have never shared a bond in your life, so why the sudden concern like you two have known each other since diaper days? Slow dramatic text. Also, in a city full of hostile machines, burning buildings, and Deus Ex Machina, what do you think happened to him, genius? It doesn't take Sherlock Holmes to figure this out, just look around you! Upcoming part 3, this concern will become completely moot. How the fuck would you know? You mean to tell me you can see all the way over there? How? So Sonic could see Shadow in a fight from over 100 yards away, but he couldn't see that green fireball heading towards his face? It's the Amazing Spider-Man all over again. Damn, dude, that's a lot of blood coming out for simply hitting the ground. Especially since any other time that happens, there isn't that much blood. Also, if Sonic's head is dispersing that much blood, that means he broke his skull upon impact with the ground. Yeah, he should be totally dead right now. Suddenly, this guy. Grrr. Also, Sonic's head exploded with blood earlier, didn't it? Shouldn't there be a wound on his head? Does he have Wolverine's healing factor too? So we got Time Lords, Jedi, and mutants? If I see any Shaman Kings, I'm bailing. Are we really cutting away from Sonic running into a new enemy just to go to Silver's bit? Of course, because we have to shoehorn Silver back into the plot somehow before he disappears and becomes irrelevant for the last 2 parts. Also, to any of you who aren't familiar with who this Kronos is that Silver is mentioning and would like to be filled in, the writer has a special message for you curious minds. It's F*** you, eye candy! For the record, this character's name isn't dropped until the last part of the episode, so unless you saw the last part first, you wouldn't know who this guy is. Believe it or not, this guy is the fucking Time Eater. Didn't he get destroyed in Generations? Also, he can talk now? Since when? Using the anthro form of an existing Sonic villain because someone was too lazy to make sprites of the real thing. Also, of all the things Time Eater could have become, he chooses the Hedgehog. He could have been a dragon, Sasquatch, he could have been Groot and removed a couple of sins, but no, he chooses the goddamn Hedgehog. Also, may I remind you, the producer himself has claimed in posts made by him the one species he thinks is the most overused is hedgehogs, yet he turns every Sonic villain without an anthro form into a hedgehog. Not really helping your case there. I can't allow someone like you to continue, cliché. Time Eater's addict to Kronos. Also, could we stop making every overpowered character say this line? We get it, you're overpowered, you don't gotta ram your egotism into our heads, just kill people already. If you won't make the first move, I will, cliché. Double text box. Blaze, you just warned Silver his opponent is very powerful, and yet you don't bat an eye when he says he wants to fight him alone? The fuck? Blaze is a terrible friend. So the only reason Silver became a Time Lord is so we could have a battle between Time Lords? That sounds kind of boring, actually. Wouldn't they just do nothing but time stop and counter time stops with their own time stops? It's like 2 people holding remote controls debating if they should continue watching The Hobbit or save the rest of the 2 hours for later. Besides, these time powers are confusing to follow. We see this rewind where Silver is reversed back to the beginning of the fight only to see him use a different move from when he started the fight. Then when it's used later, it doesn't reverse anything. Maybe I can't get into this fight scene because nothing is established. Wait, what broke? Was it the space-time continuum? If so, then we've got serious problems right now. Silver, you both have the ability to control time. You're a bit late with not wanting to find your full capabilities. Also, luckily Chrono slipped you the time stones before the ordeal basically translates to, thank God for off-screen bullshit so we don't have to write a scene where a deal like that was even made possible. Lazy writer is lazy. That's good, Silver. Don't get cocky. Also, Silver brings up doing a Time Lord battle, and the first thing he uses is telekinesis. Yes, Time Eater, he's challenging your time powers. It's almost like he's your opponent. Also, you dare challenge my power cliché. Would you guys just pick a battlefield already? You guys were on Final Destination a moment ago. What's wrong with that stage? Irony. Also, where did that robot come from? Wasn't that the giant robot from the city? What's it doing all the way out here? How did it get all the way out here? You know, with these characters having the power to throw people into different places, you think they'd send them somewhere hazardous. Like the sun, maybe? Also, these guys can reverse time on each other, right? Why haven't they performed the babality yet? The other guy's brain would be so underdeveloped, they'd probably forget their first name. They could do it before, why aren't they doing it now? Yes, because there wasn't enough Dragon Ball Z references. Animator, Silver just stopped time. Shouldn't the light show in the background stop moving? Also, Time Eater moved in the middle of Silver's time freeze. Did he decide to finally counter Silver's time freeze with his own? What took him so long? It's probably the only time he'll do it though, right? Did fucking what? So the animator and writer had no clever ideas to end a fight between Time Lords, so they went in deep in the ass and pulled again. Also, Silver just trapped a Time Lord in a prison made of time! The writer just took one straight from Last Airbender's Earthbender prison. When I said the writer was the equivalent to M. Night Shyamalan, I wasn't kidding. This series is like the Tentacleino of fanfiction. You can't joke about it because eventually what you're joking about will happen. This foreshadowing is poorly constructed under two circumstances. One, we already saw Fanidifus bring Enerjack to the world through Knuckles using the Deus Ex Machina stones. He's already got his plan going, so any questions involving his plan have already been answered. Two, even if we didn't see Fanidifus bring Enerjack back already, the idea of foreshadowing is to tease the audience about what they can assume will be coming based on the information given by the story. The fact that you have this one scene here of Tails doing nothing but walking and talking about how Fanidifus is normally a loner, you're not raising suspense for the audience to guess, you're straight up giving them the answers. That's like saying, I won't tell you the answer to the math problem, but I'll give you a hint, it's 24. Why do you care what happened to him? Don't you want revenge on him? If it doesn't matter, then why are you even bothering? Did the writer make you lose 200 points of IQ? Also, why do you need to look up files about someone you've known for over 20 years? Stop the story now, we need more fight scenes! Discount Street Fighter. So, Wolverine's healing factor and Cyclops' optic blast? Great. Deadpool from X-Men Origins Wolverine inspired this thing. If he starts teleporting like Nightcrawler, I'm breaking my copy of the DVD. Don't know if I should discount as Mega Man or to discount as Solid Snake. Either way, it's discounting something, and I noticed it. Also, what did Shadow just do? Does his form make it so whatever damage he sustains, his opponent feels it too? Because nothing earlier validated that. Hey, Shadow, when the first Hadouken doesn't work, that's usually when you stop firing Hadoukens. Trust me, Street Fighter Online makes you learn the hard way. Place your bets, guys. I'm betting 30 bucks Super Overpowered Robot has a much more powerful tool that he could have used earlier to prevent this situation. Suddenly, Tails walking down a hallway? And now we're back with Super Overpowered Robot. Pick a scene and stick with it. Ooh, who's the one who bet he still had a powerful tool? I did! So, one kick was enough to stun Super Overpowered Robot? Either his kicks are made of EMP, or Super Overpowered Robot got lame.
End of the line.
I didn't edit anything. That's actually how it transitions to the next scene. I'm surprised Eggman isn't as uppity about this than he normally would be. I mean, he and Tails hate each other, right? Also, what's up with the security here? So Tails just waltzes his way up to the main room without any guards resisting his advance and or capturing him for interrogation? This is Eggman's fucking base, isn't it? In a battlefield where everything is exploding, Deus Ex Machina commands the armies, and the question you ask is if everything is going well? What do you fucking think? Yeah, this is where Tails and Eggman have a serious heart-to-heart conversation about the current situation. Too bad I can't take any of it seriously with this rave music playing in the background. Death Egg Mark 2? You mean this shit takes place after Sonic 4 Episode 2? So this is Sonic 4 Episode 3? This episode is horrible. Also, Eggman has survived many explosions before. How does he almost die to this one? Fuck, everyone in this series can survive explosions without a scratch, so why is Eggman almost killed by one? Conscious still existing. I'm pretty sure that's not how that works. I mean, last I checked, a conscious is the awareness of one's own existence, sensations, thoughts, surroundings, etc. How can an awareness bear an existence when awareness is a state of feeling? Couldn't Eggman have just said I was still conscious instead of trying to be all pseudo-intellectual about it? Also, you're wondering what Nega did to Eggman's nephew? Well, too bad, you won't get to hear that one. How odd that the writer will expose the bigger highlights of the story through poorly constructed foreshadowing, yet when it comes to exhibition or character development, we just skim through it and inform the audience on nothing. Who the fuck informed you of his defeat? All that happened was Shadow teleported you away saying find Eggman and make him fix this mess he and Nega caused. Using off-screen as a plot device is cheating! Tails can somehow decipher this machine is a roboticizer despite never seeing a roboticizer before this scene. Skip to earlier in the series where Eggman is human again. Although that's assuming the writer eventually figured out this series' timeline. Why does everyone have to challenge Legend of Zelda and how bad they can jumble a timeline? Also, you're going on about how completing the roboticizer won't matter since the world is in ruin? Weren't you in an earlier scene going on about roboticizing the rest of the planet once you finish this thing? Why does sudden thought change? By the way, this scene with Tails and Eggman, it's never brought up again. Nor do we ever go back to it.